Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Brand Your Dream Show. Today, Sam Pilin will talk with us about the biggest mistake you can do in Facebook marketing, how you will waste all your money, get no result, and how to avoid it. Welcome, Sam. How you doing? How your time was between two episodes?
It was fantastic. Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do. Very quick introduction, because otherwise, obviously, many people watched the previous episode, but let us know what exactly do you do and how you help your clients to get the results they want.
Sure. I'm Sam Pilling. I'm owner of Bite Me Marketing. We're a Facebook and Instagram paid ads agency. I have been in advertising and marketing for 26 years, since I was obviously a very, very small child, and in social media for about 22 years. I'm running Facebook ads for 8 years. So I've been around the block a bit. We work predominantly with coaches and course creators, mentors, public speakers to help them fill their webinars, challenges, quizzes, to ultimately grow their list, get new clients, and amplify their impact in this world.
Fantastic. So let's talk about the biggest mistake without further ado, because I know people want to know more about it.
Okay, so the first one actually applies to any advertising you run, any organic post. And that is the hook or the promise that you're giving, or like the message around your offer. And when I say offer, I'm not talking about a discount. I'm not talking about the pricing. I'm talking about the transformation you're going to bring. And what I'm going to do while I'm talking about this is I'm also going to, because I love listening to podcasts, but I always kind of listen and think, come on, give me something that I can take away and actually do and apply in my business. Because the theory is great, but give me something practical. So I'm going to talk briefly about the theory, but do hold tight, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. Unless you're driving, that's not a great idea. I'm going to actually give you a process that I walk through my clients with when we're really trying to fine tune and nail that hook or that message that's going to resonate with your clients. It's going to make them take action, and it's going to turn them into paying customers of yours.
I feel
Oh,
excited.
big promise, huh? Big promise.
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel excited.
So the biggest mistake is that we're so focused on what we offer and the mechanics of what we offer that we forget our clients actually don't care. They really, and this is the cold, hard, honest truth, is they don't care about what you do. They really don't care about what you do. All they care about is the transformation that you bring to their life, irrespective of whether you are, like one of our clients, a coach, or whether you're e-commerce and selling a product, whether you're bricks and mortar, a restaurant, whatever. I'm still yet to find a product that this doesn't apply to. Everyone buys something because of transformation. They want something different. So they don't buy a new mattress because they want a new mattress. They buy a new mattress because they want a great night's sleep. No one buys a Ferrari because they want a Ferrari. Believe it or not, they buy it because of how it makes them feel, how successful it makes them feel, how sexy and attractive and fast and dangerous. That's why they're buying the Ferrari. They're not buying the Ferrari for the Ferrari. Now, I know there's going to be people that are going to be arguing this, but I'm going to come on to this in a second. And no one buys your product because they want to buy your product. They're buying it for the transformation. If you are a coach and you run webinars, courses, quizzes, challenges, they are not sitting thinking, do you know what would really change my life and make it better? I need a webinar on branding. That's what do you know what? I need to find a branding magic webinar or podcast show, because that's exactly what I need in my life. No, they don't. They want the transformation that you deliver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through an exercise that's going to help you get there faster. So with your pen and paper, first of all, I want you to draw a little doodle. I want you to draw a little stick man on the left-hand side of the paper. And then I want you to draw a stick man on the right-hand side of the paper. And I want you to draw like an arch, a bridge in between the two. Now, the stick man on the left-hand side of the paper is your customer right now, with all the pains, the problems, the issues, the frustrations that they're going through at the moment. The stick man on the right-hand side is their dream result. It's where they want to be. It's what they want to be achieving. And that bridge in the middle, that's you. Now, they don't care really what that bridge is, what it entails at the moment, because they're buying emotionally at the moment. They actually don't care about what that bridge is. All they can do is see that other person across the other side, and they want the transformation. So they don't want a diet. They want to feel fit, healthy, slimmer, sexier. Okay, they don't, as I said, they don't want the mattress, they want better sleep. So they get up in the morning feeling refreshed and amazing and ready to face the day. They don't want a branding website. They want their brand to go from meh to amazing, from being ignored to being adored. Why? Because then they'll get loads of new clients and they'll be memorable and they'll be successful. And that corporate job that they left to run the business of their dreams will be successful, and they'll be able to have the lifestyle that they want and take their kids away, and etc., etc. So you need to get out of the mindset of focusing on telling people about the bridge at the beginning. And I'll explain this in a second, but the first point of interaction with any potential client needs to be talking about the transformation that you bring, needs to be talking about how you can, not how you can help them, but that you can get them to that transformation. Now, obviously, we need to be careful. We shouldn't be making promises that we can't deliver on. So you have to be able to deliver what you're promising. And then we have whole other layers in terms of what you can promise on Facebook. So you can't promise certain things on Facebook, like lose 7 pounds in 7 days. So you just need to be careful. But you have to, that first interaction, you need to be not talking about your product, not talking about what you're going to deliver, but the transformation it's going to bring. So the first part of the exercise is having that diagram, having that drawing, and just giving yourself a minute or two just to scribble all over the paper, just to scribble down how they're feeling when they've got to the other side, what difference it's going to make to their life. Ignore the bridge. I don't want you to write anything on the bridge. It's all about your customer, and that's the first step. Okay, so that's the first part of the activity, and it should really be making your brain fizz at this point. Your brain should be like, oh yeah, this is what I can bring. This is what I can do. This is what my client's going to be like when they're finished working with me. Or even if it's like a continuous, or this is what my clients are going to feel like when they've bought that. It can be as anything, you know, it can be a moisturizer. It can be a lipstick. No one buys a lipstick because they want a lipstick. They buy a lipstick because it's going to make them feel confident, and they're going to be able to step up at work or in that conference room and feel like they're bulletproof. They haven't bought a lipstick to make their lips a different color. Let's be honest. So jumping out of that mindset. So the next part of this exercise that I run through with my clients is you're going to draw a table with 3 sections in it. Okay. At the top of the first section, you're going to write problem. The second part is going to be result. And then the third part is going to be why not. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go away and set a timer on your phone. Don't do it now. Keep listening to us. All right. There's plenty of time for you to do this. So I don't want you to leave us. But you're going to spend 3 minutes on writing down the problem. So think about jumping into their head. If you were inside their head and you just kind of jumped into the conversation that they are having with themselves, what is the problem? And go deep, really go deep. Kind of think about, if only I had more clients. If only I had more leads coming into my business. If only my, it's not even going to be to kind of, thinking about this as being a branding. No one is sat there thinking, oh, if only I had a stronger brand. They're not thinking that at the moment. That's kind of like the bridge that you're bringing. But if only I had more money coming in, it would solve all my problems. So if you want to kind of think, if only, and then answer the question, if only, and the real tangible things, if only I had a better night's sleep. If only I slept better. If only. So that's your first column, problem, and write as many things in there as you can. 1 words, sentences. Really, you want 1 words, 2 words, really, really short things. And you'll understand why in a second I'm saying kind of 1 words. The next part is again, thinking about the results. Okay, where do they want to be? What is the result? Where is their dream? And it's a bit like the guy that's over the other side of the bridge. Write all the words that come up in that box, everything in there. What do they want to be? What's the transformation that they want to have? If you notice, we haven't talked about your product or your service at all. Not at all. It's irrelevant at the moment. Then in the third box, we're going to write down the why not. These are the objections that they've got in their head. So, well, I don't have the time. Well, it's going to be too expensive. I'm too busy at the moment. Or whatever it might be. What is stopping them from, why haven't they made this transformation already? Is it a lack of knowledge? Is it a lack of confidence? Is it a lack of product? Is that product just not out there yet because you've got the product? What is the reason why not? And then you're going to fill out the following sentence. So you're going to write the sentence underneath and you're going to leave a blank. How we go from, and then you're going to write problem and underline it, to result, and you're going to underline it, even if, why not, and underline that. And the exercise you can do, once you've done that, the three different blocks, you're just going to start dropping words in and replacing problem, result, and why not with the words you've already got from your box. So how we go from no customers to booked solid, even if they don't have enough money. Now, these sentences aren't going to make sense at the moment. They're really not. But the idea is just to let your brain take, in a logical way, take those words and drop those into the sentence and start playing around. Because what this is going to be is, and you know, you might not end up with a sentence exactly like this, but it's going to get you your core message. It's going to get you your hook that's going to attract people in, because you've gone into their head, you've thought from their perspective, and then you're offering them the transformation that they need. So it is something, you can do this in as little as 12 to 15 minutes, and you can play around with it. You can test different hooks, but what you will come out with is a great hook for your advertising. And as I say, you don't just have to use one of these. This is something that you can jump in and do every week. This is something you can keep revisiting, keep coming back to as you do more of that organic testing, and the more you learn about your customers and their pain points. This is when you then nail that message that they want. This is when that message, then you put that in a Facebook ad, someone will see that in a split second. They will self-identify this is for them. They will stop looking at your ad, and they will then be intrigued to find out how you deliver that promise. And only at that point is when you start talking about what you do for them. Because there is, I mean, this is it's kind of pseudoscience, but it literally is my learning from sort of 26 years being in advertising, is that there is kind of two stages to a purchase. There is an emotional kind of gut feel. So this is when they'll see the ad and the emotion is, well, that's me. That's like someone's gone into my head. That's exactly what I need. Mm-hmm. And then the second part is the intellectual. And that's when okay, this is a big promise. Can they deliver? How do they deliver? There is a bit of the objection handling in there, which is why we put it in the sentence. What if I haven't got the time to do it? Well, you've already handled that. You've already said you can give them the transformation, even if they don't have the time to do it. So that's a great exercise, and I would recommend it whatever you do, whether you are in the digital space, whether you're bricks and mortar, even if you're a restaurant. I was thinking about this morning, trying to challenge myself to think of brands this wouldn't work for. Even a restaurant, I was thinking about, like, last night, my husband and I took my mum and dad out for dinner. My oldest son is just at the age where he's old enough to, the kids are old enough that the eldest can babysit for them for a couple of hours. And we literally walked 5 minutes into our village and had a meal out. I can tell you the food was lovely. We didn't go there for the food. We went there for the memories with my mum and dad, and to have that experience of the four of us, adult time, without kids on iPhones and iPads around the table with us, without it, just having some lovely grown-up time together. We didn't go to the restaurant for a function. It didn't obviously when we got there and the intellectual kicks in, I want a nice meal. The emotional purchase is that bridge. It's that, it's what we're talking about. So I haven't yet found a product that this doesn't work for, but I'm open to people challenging me on it.
I did work with restaurants a lot, so I can tell you it does work for restaurants as well. And I absolutely love this system because, I mean, we use very similar systems like for advertising, for branding, and things like this, because for many people, it's in fact a problem. They don't understand where their customers at, what problem do they have, what they really, 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 really want, and then they make up all the story in their head, which is, I think, the costliest mistake for ads or branding or any type of communication. Really made up stories.
Yeah.
And this is like, I saw it a lot. So I believe you also saw it a lot. So definitely what, if you would like to know a little bit more about how to research and why you need to research, watch our previous episode. And to be honest, it's really important. I absolutely agree with you. Lovely, lovely, lovely exercise. Let's move on to problems and other solutions because I absolutely love this one.
So number 2 actually does go back to our first interview, our last one. So do go back and watch that if you haven't seen it. And I talked about fast lane and slow lane swimmers, how people make purchase decisions. Again, this can apply, it doesn't just apply to your Facebook advertising, but I am going to bring Facebook ads in on this one. And it's just considering that there will be 2 different types of buyer. Your fast lane swimmers, people who know they've got a problem and they're ready to buy from you. But then you've got your slow lane swimmers. And what a lot of people do is when they run Facebook ads, they're after the quick conversion. They're after making the quick sale. And some quick sales can come through. Some people are ready to act right now and to purchase from you. And what they do is they forget the long tail of the people who, for whatever reason, are not quite ready to buy right now. And that's your slow lane swimmers. They'll still get to the destination as long as you stay on their radar. If you disappear from their, if you completely disappear, you've got no visibility, you don't engage with them, you don't connect with them, you don't nurture them, they'll swim away and they'll go in a different direction. But if you keep nurturing them, eventually they will get to the end of that pool in their own good time. Maybe now's not the right time. Maybe something else is happening in their world, but they want to keep you. They want you on the radar so that when they're ready to step up and work with you, they're ready to buy. Now, how can Facebook advertising work for that? What we do with a lot of our clients, and what I would actually recommend to people who are watching, is to have a think about what's called omnipresence campaigns. So this is thinking about, if someone drops into my world, how can I make sure that I stay on their radar and I keep dropping into their feed? Now, we know that we can't rely on organic for this. I'm sorry, times have changed. The times of high organic reach have gone. They're long gone. So whilst I'm not pushing you to advertise too quickly, what I am saying is you can use paid ads to stay on people's radars and to nurture them. Now, you'll hear lots of people talk about putting out value, putting out value, putting out value. I agree with that to a certain extent. Of course, you need to give people a flavour of what it's like to work with you. So by all means, value is one of the pieces of the jigsaw, but also do think about educating them. Also do thinking about entertaining them. What brands do we buy from? Quite often we buy from brands that entertain us. We buy from brands just because we like them. They make us laugh. They get us. They understand us. So don't kind of forget about entertainment as well. There's a company I would actually recommend people check out, a great company called White Label Comedy, who talk a lot about this, and they teach people how to create funny posts, like brand safe comedy posts. And I definitely recommend that people check them out. They're absolutely brilliant at this.
In fact, we had a comedy person in our show, so I will also refer somewhere around to that episode because, yeah, absolutely, well. People buy how we make them feel.
And it's entertaining is intimidating for a lot of people. Yes. Entertaining is, how on earth am I funny? I'm not a comedy writer. It's not about being a comedy writer, and it's about understanding your audience and the pains of those audience and kind of I think to a certain extent, kind of taking a little bit of Mickey out of it, kind of not, not, I don't want you to kind of, if you're a funeral parlor, you need to be really careful about things like this. So I'm not kind of, it needs to be brand safe,
Yeah.
but you can have a bit of fun with most brands. You really can have a bit of fun with most brands. And when brands have the confidence to bring a little bit of humor into their marketing, you find that people are more likely to share. They're far more likely to engage. They will tell their friends about a brand that's funny. I'm sure off the top of our heads between the two of us, Eve, we can think of loads of brands that are funny. Yeah. And we just love consuming their content, don't we?
Yeah.
So bringing it back to the Facebook ads, how can we do that? So we run for our clients a series of omnipresence, what we call omnipresence campaigns. Mm-hmm. Now, it might be, and again, this was something we talked about in the last interview, but you might be great on video. You might be just brilliant on video. So it could be a case of putting some, valuable, entertaining, valuable education types of content out there that's video. Little small kind of tips, nuggets of advice, easily kind of like digestible content out there. And you can run that as a video view campaign on Facebook. And the ninja trick is you can then retarget the people that watch that video as an audience. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a case of, I'm going to boost the post and it's just going to be seen. Don't do that. You can run it as a campaign, as an engagement campaign, or as a video view campaign, and you can retarget those people. Now, we're getting a little bit deep into Facebook ads here. I've actually sometimes found you need to kind of test between those two campaign objectives in Facebook, because we've got video views, we've got engagement. You can retarget people that have engaged. You can retarget people that have watched a video. Some of our clients, we get better responses when we retarget the video views. Some of our clients, we can retarget engagement better. So you've got to kind of play with that. But don't just kind of like, your omnipresence can stay on people's radars. You can make sure that once you've dropped into their world, you stay in their world, and then you can retarget those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my second, is just thinking about using Facebook ads. And it doesn't need to be expensive, by the way. We can be talking about, depending on the size of your audience, you can be talking about a couple of pounds, a couple of dollars a day, $5 a day, $10 a day, and then just bring in a mix, always bring something fresh in, update it so that when you are ready to convert them, either to get them to sign up for something or to buy something, you've got all this relationship between them. And also you can retarget people that have put their hand up and expressed an interest. So that's that's the mistake, the main mistake that people are making, is kind of doing their sales promotion and then disappearing, and then doing their sales promotion without thinking about that nurturing in between.
Or they just do only sales in advertising, and then they do all the nurturing in organic, and they believe it works. While, as you said in our previous video, basically 8% of organic is only converting. So they're not seen with the nurturing content. And they're not aware that they only seen with the paid ads with like hardcore sales offer. And this is how people perceive them, because more people see them with the ad, not with organic.
And, and so 92 to 95% of people who are even following you, that like your page or follow you on Instagram, they're not seeing that content.
They don't see it. Exactly.
Don't see it. And something else that is worth considering as well, because people say to me, oh, well, it's fine because I've got them, they've signed up for something, I've got their email address, so I can nurture them on email. Now, I'm not going to put down email. I think it's a very, very powerful medium. But again, it's one piece of that jigsaw. Good open rates on email at the moment, somewhere between 15 and 20% is a good open rate. These are people that have signed up for you and given you permission to contact them directly. And 80 to 85% of those people are not opening your emails. They're not unsubscribing. I mean, I do this with loads of newsletters. I'm not going to unsubscribe because actually I like the fact they pop up in my email, and I keep thinking, I'll get around and I'll read that, and I never do. So they're staying on my radar. So there's definitely value in that. And I will dip in every now and again, and a subject line will interest me and I'll go and read an email. I won't unsubscribe because, we haven't split up. It's just, we're not as close as we used to be, but I still want them to be in my world. What you can do with Facebook ads is that you can upload that email list to Facebook. You can create a custom audience. What Facebook does is it goes away and it matches the email addresses you've collected with the email addresses that people have used on Facebook. So they need to be the same email address. Facebook can't kind of mind readers and go, oh, that's the same person. They will then kind of match those people. We think roughly, I don't think there is an official number, but around about 70% of the emails that you upload roughly will be matched. Very ballpark figure. You can then advertise very low level with that omnipresence campaign to those people that are on your email list as well. And so people say to me, well, why would I do that? I've got them on my list. Because
it will increase conversion rate and open email rate because they at least remember that you exist.
Familiarity. It's as simple as familiarity. Who do we buy from? We buy from people that we know, like, and trust.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. So it gives...
Or at least who we remember.
Yes. Ellie Mackay says it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yeah, and it's like the amount of information is such that we literally keep forgetting people, especially if this is like brilliant marketer with some brilliant campaign or brilliant course or free workshop or something like that. You receive it, you enjoy it, you love that person exactly for 2 days after that. And then you forget they exist. And if they're not nurturing you or not sending you consistently something, you don't remember who they are. I don't open my emails either at all. I also keep people in my box because I keep thinking that I will open their emails.
Yep.
And I never do. So we see the pattern here. So pretty much ads is the only way to reach people consistently, way more consistently than with the other platforms.
It's not replacing. I'm not suggesting replacing. I mean, I actually love direct mail as well. Absolutely. In fact, I'm about to do a direct mail campaign for my own business, and I'm a Facebook ad expert. It's all part of the mix. It's all part of that jigsaw that meshes, that all fits together nicely. You don't have to have the whole jigsaw, but if you can have a few parts of it, you can see a bit of a bigger picture.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what is our SEO tip?
So kind of similar to a tip that we gave last time, I'm going to go in a different direction to this. I'm talking about audiences. Lots of customers, or lots of people, lots of advertisers on Facebook are constantly going after the new audience, a new cold audience. It's sexy, it's new. I want to get in front of loads of people, so I'm going to go for a cold audience. And what they forget is exactly what we just talked about, is going back to the people that already know you. So making sure that when you run an ad campaign, you stop and you think, I mean, I used to I created a thermometer a couple of years ago, and I really need to create this again. Well, on the thermometer, I had the temperature of the different Facebook audiences, depending on how warm they were. So at the top would be people who are on your email list. Because not only have these people, they haven't just engaged with an ad of yours, they've actually taken the time to sign up to you. What you can do, depending on the size of your audience, you could upload, so if you've got a massive audience, big email lists, you can like download the people that open, the most engaged people. So those that consistently open your emails, you can upload those as an audience, really, really hot audience. You can upload a list of people who've purchased from you and might buy again. So first of all, kind of think about the heat, how warm these audiences are, and kind of prioritize those if it's relevant to go back and sell to them again. Other audiences that are on the warm end. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So up at the top used to be website visitors. For me, it's dropped down a bit now. So you can install the Facebook pixel on your website, and then you can retarget people who've been to your website. Again, depending on how much traffic you've got coming through, you used to be able to retarget. You still can, but I'll talk about this in a second. You can retarget people that go to specific sections. So if you've got really key areas of your website that only the kind of serious people that are going to become your customers go to, you can retarget people that have been to those sections of your website. This works really well for most companies, but e-commerce, obviously, cart abandons, that type of thing, works really well for. Bit of a spanner in the works so Apple last year rolled out new kind of privacy settings with their iOS 14.5. It has meant that by default, people on Apple devices are opting out of pixel targeting.
Yeah, and
As a
plus
marketer,
GDPR as well, cookies, marketing, and all the things like
stop
removed
being so mad
partially.
about your privacy, people. Gah, you make our life so much more difficult.
Yeah, you'll just receive a lot of random advertising. That's it.
Honestly,
Not targeted.
I would much rather. I know I'm going to see an ad. Facebook is free to use.
Mhm.
Some platforms are bringing in kind of paid versions, ad free, etc. But Facebook is currently free to use. Therefore, I understand that the price I pay as an end user is I'm going to see some ads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I would rather see an ad that's relevant to me,
Yeah.
is going to be a product that I want to buy, and is going to give me a shortcut like Christmas ideas or birthday present
Yes.
ideas or stuff that's going to make my life easier because Facebook knows about the things I'm interested in. I'm really not bothered about privacy, to be honest, as a marketer. But anyway, I'm kind of digressing. So, website traffic used to be a really hot, it's still a warm, we still retarget our clients' website. Facebook have been rolling out all sorts of things behind the scenes to try and make that better. There's new announcements virtually every day at the moment about how they're trying to make that retargeting better. But do consider people who have been to your website, and it's still worth a target. Have a look at, there's also audiences that we just alluded to in the previous tip, which is video view audiences and engagement audiences. People see a lot in their newsfeed every single day. So if they've taken the time to stop and watch one of your videos, if they've taken the time to engage with a post or an ad, they are showing some kind of interest. So it would be crazy not to go back and retarget these people as well. Then we move down into the cold audiences, which people tend to find as bit, it is a cold audience. Sorry, my brain fizzes when I talk about audiences, and I kind of think, make sure I remember to tell you this. So then we move down into the cold audiences, and we have most people at their default when they're running a Facebook ad will go straight for the interest targeting, and we can get some great results on interest targeting. So there's all sorts of interests that you can target people, behind. If you want to target a 60-year-old plus woman who lives in London who loves horror movies and knitting, you can, I don't know what product would do that, but there's some great targeting. And it's actually why I moved out of my background. I started off in TV. I went into digital media 22 years ago, social media about 20 years ago, and other things. But I've bought press, I've bought outdoor, I've worked in events, etc. I specialize in Facebook now because of the targeting you can do and the fact that it's leveled the playing field for smaller advertisers and made it really accessible for people to advertise. So there are some great things you can go do in interest. Facebook does change it all the time. They take away interests that we get really excited about, but ultimately they're trying to protect their end user. But definitely have a look at interest targeting. But that's the mainstay people go to, forgetting the others. But there is another cold audience that's always worth testing, and that's called a lookalike audience. And this is where I get really excited. So you've uploaded your email list to Facebook and you've said, these are my hot prospects. These are people that really have expressed an interest. I'm going to create a lookalike audience based off the back of that. And you're saying to Facebook, go away and find people who look like this. Now, when I say look, it's called a lookalike. It's not actually look like. Facebook have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of data touch points that they can then build up profiles of people. Now it's all hashed, there's not an individual, they're not sat there going, Eve likes this, this, and this, and this, so I will show her that. It's all hash data. You are anonymous within that group. The end advertiser can't see who they're targeting. They're not given a list of names or anything like that. But Facebook will go away and find other people with interests and behavior like your dream clients. Now, the better the core data that you've uploaded, the better the lookalike audiences. Some lookalike audiences are amazing, some don't perform very well. So this is all stuff to test. But you can create lookalike audiences based on your list. Video views, people who've watched your videos, people who've engaged with your posts, people who've visited your website, people who like your Facebook page, people who follow your Instagram account. So there's all these different audiences that you can create and you can test and you can target. And so many people just rush for the interest targeting code and forget all about the others that at the very least you should be testing. So that is my third and final mistake that people are making on Facebook advertising.
I absolutely love it because I think the audience audience research on Facebook itself is a very interesting thing because you can test it a lot and you really can look on this interest thing, like, when you think, okay, what book my client read or other clients read. So it's not necessarily direct interest, it's interest which combine people around Ferrari, which we mentioned in last video, or something like that. So it's a psychological targeting when we go like beyond what offered and see the holistic approach around how we build this customer profile, back to the idea of the research and things like this. When we clearly understand for our customers, we can build very interesting customer profiles which work fantastically on Facebook ads. Thank you so much for all these tips.
Before we
I love
go,
them all.
one last thing that just popped
Yeah.
into my head.
Okay.
You can tell my brain does fizz when I talk about these things. So this is something is kind of full circle. So it's something we would have done 8 years ago, and then, oh my goodness, wouldn't have done for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and we're starting to do again, and that is broad targeting. So that is stripping away everything and just letting Facebook run and try to find your audience. Now, it's a little bit kind of like, oh, you have to test it. It can be a little bit hairy,
it's like,
scary.
I am lucky button.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, okay, let's, spin the roulette wheel. I've seen really, really good results from just allowing, we've talked about face being machine learning, giving Facebook a little bit of headroom and going and finding your audience. But with all of these things, I'm going to kind of round up, I suppose, with saying the great big thing about Facebook and to remember is that unlike traditional media, like if you're buying a quarter page in the newspaper, you spend your money, your ad runs, whether it works or not, it could work great, it could work amazingly, but if it doesn't, you've spent your money, that's it.
Yeah.
With Facebook, you'll know within, Facebook says 72 hours. I'm too twitchy with our ads. I never leave them 72 hours before kind of like trying to kind of optimize or have a look at them. But you're going to know really, really quickly whether something's resonating, whether you'll be able to see from the soft stats whether something's working well. The things like the click-through rates, the link click-through rates, the cost per thousand that Facebook is charging you, because if they're charging you a lot, you're making it difficult for them to deliver your ad, or maybe your ad isn't resonating too well. Anyway, what you can do is you can test all of these things. You can test 1 or 2 of these things at a time. You're only going to pay for what your ad campaign has spent. So if you get 2 days into a campaign and you go, these tests aren't working, you can turn the ad off and all you've spent is 2 days worth of your budget. It's not like buying traditional media where that money's gone. You've given Facebook your 1,000, 100, 10,000, £1 million ad budget. All you've spent is what you spent, and they'll only take that money, not what you were planning on spending. So again, the one takeaway from this is test, watch it like a hawk and switch it off if it's not working.
And plus, the idea that we can target our ads to conversion instead of just reaching people, which I think like a biggest revelation for many of my clients, because they're like, oh, we get so many impressions. I'm like, why do you need impressions? If you want to convert this thing, so you need to set event for conversion and blah, blah, blah. So, been teaching people about that, and then they see significant decrease in the expenses, significant conversions, and they're like, oh, we could do it all this time. We could do it differently. That's why I absolutely recommend reach Sam, reach professional Facebook advertising experts, because they can watch your ad as hook and see the difference. Yeah, you might look at that status like forever and see nothing.
Yeah, I talked about my client before he worked with us literally would get up through the night to watch his ads. He was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's so easy to do that when you're running ads. Good advice.
Good advice just to work with professionals. Advertising, branding, hire us, guys. That's a good idea.
Exactly. I certainly bring experts into my business. I bring designers in, I bring experts in their fields in. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So how people can connect with you?
Okay, so people can find me on, and there's going to be some links somewhere that Eva's promised me. You can
Yeah.
find me on Facebook. You can find me personally and our business, which is Bite Me Marketing. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find us at our website, which is Bite Me Marketing. That's Bite Me Marketing.
It will be written just below. So
.co.uk. We're in the UK. We've got a .co.uk suffix. We're not a .com. So .co.uk. Some little dastardly person wants to charge me ridiculous amount of money for the .com, and I'm refusing out of principle.
right.
So I haven't bought it.
That's good. Be proud of it.
That's open, yes.
Oh, thank you so much for all your recommendations. I think they're amazing. And I think that if people will implement them, they will see the results. And that's the key, pretty much. Whatever you hear, the good advice, implement it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you.
Reach out to Sam. She's fantastic. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.